Hello guys and gals, and I will be reviewing the entire second arc of the Wings of Fire franchise. Starting with Book 6, Moon Rising. In this book, we learn about Moon's power to read minds and her gift of prophecy. Also, she has precognition, meaning she can foresee the future to a certain extent. In this book, she does foresee the explosion that or the bomb attack at the school, and that even though she does try to discourage some dragons from entering the room, she isn't able to save them all. I believe it was Tamarin. Tamarin was in the room. Then again, Tamarin was already blind, so but she did get sustain some burns. Carnelian was killed. It was an attempt to get rid of Icicle, actually, because of some bad blood between the Mud Wings and the Ice Wings. But for the most part, a lot of the dragons actually survived the attack because of her precognition. And that happens a few times, where she would have a precognitive vision that ended up saving lives or giving insight. She also finds it weird that she can't read Turtle's mind, but it's because of his bracelet that has pieces of meteorite, aka Skyfire. I think she calls it Skyfire because it was broken off pieces of the meteorite. And it prevents her from reading Turtle's mind. Turtle is or does have a secret that she doesn't know about yet. But anyways, but yeah, Quibbly and Winter, they don't seem to get along very well, but they are friends. Winter has a scavenger, aka a human, as a pet, and Moon helps Winter determine what's wrong with the scavenger, and so yeah. At the end of the book, Winter does release Bandit, his scavenger, back into the wild because he knows that it won't survive in the Winter Kingdom, the Ice Kingdom, up north. So he wants it to be able to survive. Anyways, but yeah, I've been kind of jumping around this, but anyways. A lot of people don't know that Moon can read minds, and so yeah. And yeah, she keeps getting messages through her mind or through her powers that someone is dream visiting with Scarlet, and Queen Scarlet, who is still alive, just with a melted face. And she's just not sure who it is. And so her and Darkstalker, who is the voice that she keeps hearing, they try to figure it out. And Darkstalker can apparently see like all the different possible future outcomes and stuff like that. So, but yeah. As for the dragon that basically planted the dragon fire cactus bomb in the history room, it was Sora the Mudwing. So her and Umber being the first published or publicly known gay character, they basically left and went to hiding, and they still haven't resurfaced. Even after book 15, no one has still heard from either Umber or Sora. But it is said that the author wants to basically maybe in the next arc, the fourth arc, maybe have Umber be like find his one true eternal dragon or whatever. So so that'll be nice. Because Umber is a very cool character. But yeah, Mudwings, they like to stay together, so Umber and Sora, they left together to go into hiding. Um, and those are like Clay's siblings. But anyways, um, again, it's not the first time that something like that happened, because it's happened before with the the group of Mudwings breaking up, which happened about 2,000 years ago, probably. So yeah. Anyways, there's that. Anyways, um, at the end of the book, the first book, this book, um, Moonwatcher and the Jade Winglet minus Carnelian, Umber, and Turtle, they go to find a Winter, and they do manage to find him, and so yeah, that's where this one ends. With Moonwatcher basically telling Winter that, hey, she can read minds, but she does have Turtle. No, wait, Turtle's with him too. Yeah, Turtle's with him too, because he gives Winter a piece of the meteorite so that Moon can't read his mind. You know, so that way the whole circle of the Jade Winglet can have, you know, their own thoughts. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna move on to the next book. So yeah, now we are to Winter turning. Now, of course, Winter is kind of upset that Moon was able to read his mind. He kind of has a crush on her, as does Quibbly, and so yeah, he feels a little bit betrayed by that. But the fact that he has a piece of the meteorite or the Skyfire that does block her mind reading abilities does help a little bit. What I didn't mention in the last episode was that Icicle, aka Winter's sister, tried to unalive Starfire. I mean Starflight, who is blind still, and the librarian. But Winter and the Jade Winglets, the Jade Winglet, do manage to repel her attack. So yeah, and she goes into hiding. So they first, Winter wants to just do this on his own to find Icicle, and then try and determine, you know, if Hailstorm, his brother, is still alive. In the prologue, we do find out how Hailstorm was taken during the War of Sandwing Succession, and so yeah. Anyways, Hailstorm was able to convince the Skywings not to take Winter and just to take him, and that didn't go over too well because he had such a high standing in the Icewing community, and Winter kind of didn't. So yeah, so Winter wants to do everything in his power to get his brother back. So the quest starts with them going into the rainforest and to see if she's there, because Queen Scarlet, former Queen Scarlet, it's Queen Ruby took over in Scarlet's absence, but former Queen Scarlet of the Skywings basically tasked Icicle with basically unaliving the Dragonets of Destiny, especially Queen Glory, because it was Queen Glory that melted her face, you know, with her venomous spit. But yeah. her venomous saliva. Anyways, so while there, they do find out that Icicle had been there, and they find the body of a dead Nightwing. So, well, yeah, and so yeah. Eventually, they do go through to the portal, the magic portal into the old Nightwing thing, the old Nightwing Island where the volcano erupted. They found Moro Sear's, body that had been, completely covered in lava, and they do actually find Icicle there. Um, however, Queen Glory does take Icicle into custody, and they found out that Icicle hadn't been sleeping because using the Dream Visitor, Queen Scarlet was using the former Queen Scarlet rather was using the Dream Visitor to visit Icicle in her dreams. So if Icicle stayed awake, there would be no way for Queen Scarlet to talk to her. So, anyways, Winter tries to make a deal with Queen Scarlet through Icicle, but then he kind of isn't able to deliver on that. But that's fine. What they do, though, is they do manage to find the Talons of Peace. Now, the Talons of Peace know a lot because they live in the area where there's so they kind of know what's going on in their territory. And there's an odd Skywing there called Tempest. I believe it was Tempest. And they also meet a kind of a gruff Icewing there that Winter had never heard of, which is kind of strange. I don't remember what his name was, though, but I think it was kind of a generic name, if I remember. But he's kind of gruff and stuff like that. But Tempest does join them because she seems to remember where Scarlet was located. So for a while, Tempest joins the party. They go to the Dragon Spine Mountains, is what I would call them, but they're something like they've got a different name. And they spend the night at the base of this cliff, and Winter gets a dream visited message from Scarlet, and he's able to, escape from Scarlet by getting, I think it was Moonwatcher to wake him up, and so they know they're close because of what they saw, of what Winter saw in his dream. And so yeah, about that time, they get attacked, and this big dragon attacks Kinkajou, the Rainwing, brutally, I would add. They do fight him off, and he should be hurt really bad, but he seems to shrug off, any of their attacks. They end up, they end up taking Kinkajou very carefully to a Sandwing town called Probability, or Possibility. Possibility? I think it's Possibility. Which is basically a town where lots of different dragons, congregate or live. It isn't like an all Sandwing town. It's got all the dragons, and they all live in harmony, basically, for the most part. And the doctor says, well, the doctor is Mudwing, I believe, and he says, well, it's not good. goes over all the different injuries that Kinkajou has, and so that basically knocks him into three. But Tempest is there, and the funny thing about Tempest is even Moonwatcher can't really read Tempest's thoughts very well. So what they do is they find out that the necklace that Tempest is wearing is kind of like a glamour. Now, a glamour is kind of like an illusion. And so when they take off the necklace, then Tempest, who is a female Skywing, turns into Hailstorm, aka Winter's brother. Now, that kind of messes up Hailstorm's mind because he's been living as a female Skywing for however long he's been, under the effect of this spell, and so yeah, it's kind of really weird. I mean, okay, I don't even want to think about that, but I will bring it up. Okay, so let me set up a situation here that probably wouldn't happen, but you never know. So basically, this is a spell. It was a spell using Darkstalker's scroll. Basically, Chameleon had it. Chameleon has been helping Scarlet this whole time by enchanting different objects by, basically writing on the scroll, cutting out the piece, and then putting it into objects. In this case, the piece of the scroll was put inside of a necklace and then, put around Hailstorm's neck. Now, what I have to theorize or wonder is, okay, so basically, this glamour or this enchantment basically made Hailstorm think that he was a female Skywing. And he probably even, went out and she probably went out and fought, other Ice Wings and stuff like that in the war. Kind of makes me wonder what would have happened. Okay, it's weird, but it kind of makes me wonder if him under the influence of the spell would make it so that he could get pregnant and lay eggs because he was a female named Tempest, and anyone who wore that necklace would become the same, Tempest avatar. So you don't really find out because I don't think that situation ever happened, but it kind of really messed up Hailstorm's head, and you can't really blame him for that. But anyways, the rest of the Jade Winglet stay in possibility with Kinkajou, and Winter goes into the Ice Kingdom with Hailstorm, formerly Tempest. So this was kind of a weird book. Not gonna lie. So anyways, everyone is happy to see Hailstorm, and they're not so happy to see Winter. But they do something interesting. Now, Icewing community, or the Icewing tribe, they basically have a wall that basically has everybody's name on it. And depending on how well they do, and the stuff they do, they can, get up to the upper tiers, So it's kind of like a hierarchy. And when Hailstorm left, he was like at, first tier, all the way up here. And, so anyways, Winter gets promoted all the way up to the top, for his heroic deeds in saving Hailstorm. But Hailstorm is since he's been gone so long, he's promoted all the way down here in tier 7. And then something happens. And you realize why Winter was promoted up that high. They have to fight to the death. Basically, Winter has to fight his brother to the death. And there's a special challenge that takes place in this cave. And nobody ever really talks about this particular challenge. But anyways, when they both go down there, they know that only one of them is going to come back alive, or basically that's the idea. And so yeah, they get down there, and there is a Nightwing down there, frozen in ice. Apparently, some kind of animus magic. And so they bring the Nightwing back to life, with the spears or whatever that they have, and then they're supposed to slay it, but instead they listen to it, and it turns out that it's Foe Slayer, who is Darkstalker's mother. And so you see, the legend always was that it was Foe Slayer that kidnapped or coerced Prince Arctic in Animus, the last Animus that the Ice Wings had seen. They thought that it was like a power grab, so now the Nightwings would have their own Animus. But it turns out that Foe Slayer actually loved Prince Arctic. And so, yeah. They don't want to fight. Hailstorm doesn't want to kill Winter. Winter doesn't want to kill Hailstorm. And nobody really wants to kill Foe Slayer. Foe Slayer is basically immortal because of some kind of Animus curse that's put upon her. And so Winter has Hailstorm basically just, leave and then say, well, just say that you killed me, and then, just leave, and then I'll just banish myself and never come back. So that's what happens. However, he does bring Foe Slayer back to life, and then figures out how to free her from her restraints. Now, she's been there for 2,000 years, so she hasn't aged, because the only time she ages is when she's not, well, when she's thawed out. So, anyways, Foe Slayer and Winter, they, after Hailstorm leaves, and then they wait like a day or so, and then they fly out. So, there's that. And that's that. So we are going to go to the next book. Okay, so we are to Escaping Peril. Now, this book takes place, I dare say this book probably takes place not quite after the previous one. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. But anyways, this is basically about Peril, the daughter of Kestrel, and so yeah, she's afflicted by fire scales, which means that anything she touches basically gets burnt to ash because she has too much fire. So, she is out to find Scarlet. Basically, Queen Ruby of the Skywings, the acting queen, shows up at the Jade Mountain Academy to pick up Carnelian's body, because Carnelian was killed during the Dragon Flame Cactus bombing that happened in the history room. And at first, Ruby thinks that maybe Peril did it, but Peril and even Clay can confirm that it wasn't Peril that killed Carnelian. But Ruby still doesn't believe that, because she's seen Peril back when she was a dragonette basically destroy all of the Skywing eggs with, because it was Queen Scarlet's idea, because she didn't want the prophecy to come true. So, and Peril didn't know any better back then. But Ruby still doesn't really believe that. So anyways, Scarlet herself just shows up, while Ruby's there, and tosses a head, down at the assembled people, the assembled dragons down there. And it looks to be Queen Glory's head. But that, of course, makes Tsunami really mad. And so a bunch of dragons chase after Scarlet. Anyways, they do find out, though, that it's just another Animus touched object, because they find a piece of paper inside the mouth of the head. And it says, well, enchant this item to appear like the head of Queen Glory or whatever. So they realize it's just a trick. So Peril sets out with Turtle, and they go on a little quest to see if they can find Queen Scarlet. So, and to a certain extent, they do. They notice that they're being followed, though, on several occasions. Of course, Peril just kind of laughs it off and doesn't really pay attention. They do meet the Talons of Peace again, but they're able to convince the Talons of Peace that they're peaceful, and so they're allowed to, be in that territory. Anyways, eventually they make their way to Possibility so they can check on Kinkajou. Now, and the other Jade Winglet people. Now, Peril decides to, she accidentally sets off a dragonfire cactus by mistake. And so she decides to wait outside of the city so she isn't a nuisance. Anyways, about that time, Winter comes flying over, and without any provocation, really attacks Peril, thinking that she's an enemy or, out to get him or something. So anyways, she accidentally hurts Winter, and Turtle comes along and is able to heal Winter using his magic stone, because he had enchanted this magic stone to heal his muscles after having to fly for so long. And it's used to basically just heal superficial injuries, not anything too deep, but it's enough to actually heal Winter. Foe Slayer, on the other hand, just flies off somewhere. We don't really know where, at least not yet. Anyways, when Peril basically then leaves without saying too much, just leaves, and she realizes that she's being followed by a dragon, the same dragon that had been following them before. And he says that he's her father, and she doesn't know if she can believe him or not. But yeah, he does. He takes her to see Scarlet because he is working for Scarlet, and so yeah. He also says that he can take away her fire scales so that she can actually touch other dragons, and not burn them. And after a little persuasion, she agrees. So yeah, her fire scales go away. However, it's different though, because there was another enchantment on that particular object, but she doesn't see it yet. So anyways, they fly to the Sky Kingdom, and they end up kidnapping Queen Ruby's son, Cliff. I think his name is Cliff. So yeah, and then they wait for Queen Ruby to come back. Queen Ruby does succeed the throne, gives it to Scarlet, so that Cliff doesn't get hurt. There's so yeah, and then they put Ruby in the dungeon, at least for now. So anyways, eventually Ruby does get out of the dungeon. Cliff escapes, helps his mother escape, and it turns out that Peril doesn't remember who Clay is because of an enchantment. And she seems perfectly okay with this, even though Clay is basically probably the only dragon that she really cares about. So yeah, she realizes that she can't really trust this dragon, even if it is her father. So that's when she finds out about Darkstalker's scroll and how he's able to keep changing forms, because he has about 7 different forms he can take, all because of Darkstalker's scroll. His Skywing form is called Soar, as in Soar. And usually they got generic names. But anyways. So when Cliff is put into danger, then she comes to her senses and she takes off or she melts the necklace and comes to her senses. That gives her the idea that maybe there's something that's holding Ruby back, and that maybe there's an enchantment inside an earring that that might be why she's losing to Queen Scarlet, because they are fighting for the throne. So she is able to tear the earring from Queen Ruby, and that's when she turns into Beryl, I believe it is. Is it Beryl? Something like that. And turns into this big dragon, and Scarlet is easily beaten then and killed. And but seeing Queen Ruby as this different dragon kind of scares Cliff, so they have her, go back to being Queen Ruby with the earring and stuff. Anyways, after that, Ruby pardons Peril and says that she can come back anytime she likes, and that she apologizes for thinking of her as a monster. But yeah. Anyways, Turtle shows up, and with the others from the Jade Wing minus Kinkajou, because Kinkajou is like really badly hurt, and they track down Chameleon. They steal his scroll, and so yeah, they do leave him with the his ability to shapeshift, to change forms. They do leave him with that, with his scroll pieces that allow him to take on other forms. So anyways, they don't know what to do with the scroll, because with it they basically have limitless power. So Quibbly wants to use the scroll to give himself animus powers. Winter wants to use the scroll for his own purposes as well, and so they all keep fighting over the scroll. Anyways, Moonwatcher in the night steals the scroll and flies back to Jade Mountain Academy. And she starts reading the scroll and finds out exactly how evil Darkstalker is. So yeah, she finds out that yeah, it gets kind of gory. So I don't know if I'll go into that. But the interesting way that Prince Arctic, aka Darkstalker's father, met his end is kind of gory. Not gonna lie. But yeah. It's all written down in the scroll also. and Moon Watcher is reading it, So, anyways, Quibbly and Winter are fighting over the scroll. So Peril picks up the scroll and it burns the scroll, and then that awakens, or that means that all the power goes back to Darkstalker, and he is able to escape. So Peril woke up, or basically brought Darkstalker back to life. He was never actually dead. He's an immortal being with unbreakable scales and stuff like that. So it wasn't like he was dead, but he was like sleeping until an earthquake kind of broke the necklace, the bracelet that had him in a perpetual state of sleep. So yeah. So now Darkstalker's alive and out and about, and he's huge because he's like 2,000 years old and he kept growing. So he's like bigger than any of the other dragons. So that is that. Yeah. So let's keep on going and go to the next book. And we are to Talons of Power. Now, Talons of Power refers to several things, but we're only going to refer to one of them in this book. We'll refer to the second meaning in the next book. Anyways, this was from Turtle's perspective, minus the prologue and the epilogue. So, when Turtle sees Darkstalker, he quickly Animus touches a stick, I believe it is, and makes himself invisible completely to Darkstalker. Not to anybody else, just Darkstalker. So, yeah. Anyways. And he doesn't really trust Darkstalker either. Darkstalker, at least on the surface, seems to be a good dragon. He helps people out and even uses his Animus powers to give some dragons special powers and basically making their wishes come true. Enchanting items and stuff like that. He enchants Flame's library card to basically get the scar off his face, which is something that he had asked Stone Mover to do, but Stone Mover refused to because, well, he was already turning to stone due to using his own Animus powers so much. Stone Mover is Sunny's father, by the way. So yeah, eventually Flame does try to unalive Stone Mover because of his unwillingness to help Flame. And yeah. So yeah. So yeah. Anyways, but yeah, he seems to be a nice enough dragon, helping people out. But he's always careful and telling Anemone not to use her Animus powers without him around. Like he's trying to control everything, But yeah. Turtle does or is able to Animus touch Quibbly's earring to be immune to Darkstalker's influence and powers and all of Darkstalker's spells. Now that's important, and that comes into play at least later. But yeah, also Turtle has this bowl that he Animus touched that will double anything put inside of it, which kind of comes into play also. Anyways, they find out that Darkstalker has the ability to know whenever anyone uses their Animus magic. So when Turtle does Animus touch Quibbly's earring, Darkstalker does ask if what happened, and what was going on and stuff like that. And Quibbly was able to say, well, I don't know. It was just, I saw Anemone go by, so it's probably her. And so they were able to get by with it like that. Turtle wanted to make it so wanted to turn Quibbly into an animus also, but he was too afraid that Darkstalker would find out. So yeah, eventually Darkstalker takes some of the dragons from the Jade Mountain Academy, like all the Nightwings, also Anemone, I believe, and some of the other dragons over to the rainforest because he wants to meet the Nightwings that are living there. And his goal is to eventually be king of the Nightwings. Kind of like that was his goal, 2,000 years ago, was to become king of the Nightwings. And we learned that in the Darkstalker book, which I'll review after book 5, after the Arc 3 recap. So, anyways, it's really weird because everyone's acting strange. So, Quibbly gets the idea. Well, not yet, but eventually Quibbly gets an idea, but not yet. Anyways, Darkstalker flies to the rainforest and talks to Queen Glory and all the Nightwings, and he wants all the Nightwings that are willing to come with him to come with him, and to go over to the old kingdom where the Nightwings used to live, 2,000 years ago. Basically, the Nightwings were so afraid of Darkstalker that they basically left their old homeland behind and lived in a musky old volcano, a smoky old volcano, just to get away from him. They didn't realize that he had been imprisoned under a mountain for 2,000 years. But anyways, he also has a prison. He builds a prison, for any prisoners that come along. And so yeah. Anyway, one of the prisoners, Fierce Teeth, I think it was, or Fierce Claws, Fierce Teeth, I think. He takes with him. So yeah, that leaves only one prisoner, Mastermind, I believe, which is Starflight's father. But Starflight's father, Mastermind, prefers just to be, kept in the quicksand pit. Anyways, they take off. Glory is, okay with it. And so yeah. In the meantime, yeah. Let me keep thinking. Yeah, this was it. It was in this book. That's right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, they go to the old Nightwing Kingdom, which has fallen into grave disrepair from it not being used in like 2,000 years. But some of the scrolls are okay and stuff like that. But it used to be an exquisite place, but now it is kind of in really bad disrepair. So, excuse me, just a sec. Oh yes. So yeah. But while, Turtle does discreetly follow the Nightwings and aka Darkstalker into the rainforest, and also uses his animus powers to heal Kinkajou. Actually, I think it's Anemone that actually does the healing spell, because that way if Darkstalker is gets wise to it, then she's like, oh well, I was just healing my friend, and then he'd be cool with it. But yeah. anyways, Anemone is kind of clever though, or tries to be cute or something, and kind of makes Kinkajou fall in love with Turtle because he kind of has a crush on her. Now, granted, later Anemone does take back that part of the enchantment. But yeah. Anyways, Kinkajou is completely healed, and Turtle also casts an animus spell at the exact same time Anemone does, so that Darkstalker wouldn't get wise to it, to make Anemone, to make Kinkajou appear insignificant to Darkstalker, and that comes into play near the end of the next book. So with Kinkajou, you know, back to full health, she also goes along. You know, so does Moon and Anemone. They all basically go to the old Nightwing Kingdom. But yeah, Turtle sneaks in, you know, later, follows Darkstalker into the old Nightwing Kingdom before anybody else does. And so, yeah. He doesn't really learn much, though. Just that Darkstalker is still looking for Clearsight, even though Clearsight probably, well, she lived a, you know, a normal life, you know, a normal lifespan for a dragon, and it's been 2,000 years, so she really isn't around anymore. So, anyways, yeah. Eventually, Turtle does go back and to the sea kingdom, the Sea Wing Kingdom, and because he thinks that Darkstalker wants Anemone to dispatch, get rid of Queen Coral. So he goes to talk to Queen Coral about it. Now, if you remember from book 2 of the series, Queen Coral only has 2 daughters, 3 daughters total: Auklet, Anemone, and Tsunami. And but she has like 28 sons or something. Now, in the prologue to this, we find out that there was some bad blood between Turtle and his father, Gil. Basically because there was just some bad blood, and Gil died before any of it was resolved. Same thing with Coral, except that it was never really resolved. There was like a family dispute, basically, and this kind of, when Turtle and Coral they talk, then she's like, "Oh wow, well we didn't really ever have a chance to say that. Well, we forgave you for what happened all those years ago." And so yeah, so it's like, yeah. Anyways, Turtle finds Anemone on this island. I think it's the Talon of Power Island, actually, and they have an animus battle. I mean, we're talking them always casting animus spells back and forth. And so yeah, it's during this time that Turtle basically enchants his own scales to be as hard as diamond and his bones to be unbreakable. But yeah, it's then that Darkstalker basically summons all of the Animus dragons to his throne room, and so yeah, which includes a Stone Mover, Jerboa, and then Turtle and Anemone, the only Animus dragons in all of the kingdom. So anyways, the throne room is enchanted so that no animus magic except for Darkstalker's spells will work. And that's when things get kind of interesting, because Darkstalker, well, Jerboa basically vanishes instantly before Darkstalker can see her, but Darkstalker basically asks Stone Mover how many dragons are in the room, and he says 4, but Darkstalker can only see 3. And so he figures out that there is a clever animus there. And so he eventually gets Turtle to reveal himself. And Turtle gives the stick to Anemone, and she like vanishes from Darkstalker's radar. And then just as revenge, Darkstalker basically takes away Turtle's animus powers, and they're never returned. So his scales are still unbreakable, of course, and stuff like that, but his animus powers are gone. So yeah. And then Anemone goes to get help to see if he can find Quibbly and Winter. To see if she can find Quibbly and Winter. Anyways, that is that. So yeah, Darkstalker gets a little bit drunk on power. Now, in the epilogue, we find out that there is a disease that is killing all of the Ice Wings. And at the end of the book, Queen Glacier dies, and Queen Snowfall takes over. So, let's move on to the next book. And now we have book 10. And this is, minus the epilogue and the prologue, it is entirely from the perspective of Quibbly. So yeah. The prologue basically goes over Quibbly's past, his rough upbringing, and so yeah, we have that. Anyways, to paraphrase, Quibbly was really clever, growing up, and sometimes would have to resort to stealing and stuff like that, but he was always very clever, and that's what made Thorn recognize him or notice him. So she basically bought Quibbly from his mother. But his grandfather wasn't too happy about that. His grandfather is Vulture, and Vulture is basically leader of the Talons of Power, which is basically the underground, the crime underground. Kind of like he's like a mafia boss. And he has like all the power. At least, in the underground, he's like the muscle. Anyways, Quibbly goes to him and Winter go to back to the Scorpion Den, which is where he grew up. And they end up meeting Vulture. They go, underground and are escorted to see Vulture. And he wants to see his mother because when they went to the house, she wasn't there. And she's in, I think, a quicksand trap or something, It's something very unpleasant. And so he tries to save her. So, yeah. And now they all know that he has some connections. He's an outlaw, and he is an advisor to Queen Thorn. And Vulture is wanting to, overthrow Queen Thorn. So, yeah. Not the best thing in the world to happen. So they do come up with a plan in order to escape, and it's to a certain extent successful. They find out that Vulture managed to find the obsidian glass that Sunny had buried in the desert in book 5, I believe it was. She had the obsidian glass or the obsidian mirror, and she like buried it in the sand, and Vulture ended up finding it. So they end up taking that and leaving with well, Winter, Quibbly, and his mother. They all like left. Anyways, um, they end up going to the palace, and Quibbly basically has his mother arrested because he knows that she is playing a role and that she isn't being genuine. Now, in the prologue of this, I believe we find out about Palm and Smolder. Smolder and Palm, they were in love, and the point where she was with Egg, I believe, and had a daughter. But at the queen at the time, Queen Oasis, kind of sent an army after her in order to end her, I guess. So basically, the dragon they found wasn't Palm though; it was Palm's sister, and Palm's sister was like in the dungeon for like a long time. We're talking 20 years probably, or something like that. And there was something that was like supposed to be like overnight, and they find out it was the wrong dragon. But yeah, it just didn't happen because it was that night that Queen Oasis was killed by scavengers, and so that kind of threw everything out of kilter. Now, anyways, um yeah. So that isn't all that happened though. At the very beginning of the book, we need to go back to the very beginning of the book. Quibbly took Turtle's bowl and put his earring in it, his enchanted earring that protected him from Darkstalker's influence. And he made like enough earrings for like the entire Jade Mountain Academy just by putting the earrings in, doubling them, rinse and repeat. So yeah. Now he also does this also at Queen Thorn's palace because Winter falls ill due to the illness that's taking over the Ice Wings, and Quibbly ends up saving Winter's life by having him wear that earring because the phage or the illness was basically Darkstalker's revenge against the Nightwings. So Quibbly basically just keeps, making more and more of the earrings of his, and they send a bunch of them up to the Ice Wings to save the ones that are still alive. Winter was going to go up there himself, but a half Ice Wing hybrid from, I think from Possibility, said that he would go up there and deliver the earrings to the Ice Wings. And so Quibbly ends up saving the entire Ice Wing tribe. Half Ice Wings would have been okay, but the full-blooded Ice Wings. So, yeah. So, anyways, Winter does kind of attack Quibbly when he tries to put the earring on him, but he recovers. So yeah. Anyways, now there is a character that was attending Jade Jade Mountain Academy, named Onyx, and Onyx is like the heir. Was actually the daughter of Smolder and Palm. So she goes there, and she helps. I mean, well, she she goes to the Jade Mountain Academy, and anyways, she ends up basically working with Vulture because she wants to overthrow Queen Thorn, because she's a legitimate heir. Now, this makes Quibbly a little nervous, and he whips up a sandstorm and basically buries the entire castle basically in sand because he doesn't really know how to use Animus powers. The bracelets actually belong to Anemone, and she used them earlier when Darkstalker first appeared in order to show off her powers. But Quibbly just doesn't know how to use them properly or even how to turn them off. But anyways, after that goes awry, then Vulture vanishes, and Quibbly and Winter, they start flying towards the Nightwing area. On the way there, they meet Anemone, and Anemone basically tells them what happened and how Turtle was like thrown in the dungeon, and she hasn't realized yet that Turtle's lost his powers. But they all three go and head towards the old Nightwing Kingdom to confront Darkstalker. Eventually, what was kind of in the last book, I didn't mention it, but in the last book, Darkstalker and Anemone did have kind of an argument because Anemone was kind of like enchanting a broom to hit Moon, and so basically Darkstalker basically told Anemone to leave, and so yeah, that's when Turtle went after her in order to save Coral, stuff like that. But anyways, yeah. So, Quibbly and Winter, they go and they find Moon. And they also find, they and then they talk and they try to convince Moon that Darkstalker is bad and that Darkstalker, made the disease that was killing the Ice Wings, but she just doesn't want to believe it. While Quibbly's in the library, he's approached by this Nightwing, which turns out to be Foe Slayer, and so she's like, "Well, do you know this kind of aggressive Sea Wing?" Because Tsunami had left, with a bunch of earrings for the Nightwings that were going after Darkstalker, but she got waylaid by Foe Slayer, apparently, and kept in a cave. You find this happens a lot. Anytime it's possible for Tsunami to get kidnapped, then that's usually what happens, and that happens in this book as well. But yeah. So, anyways, they're trying to convince Moon that Darkstalker's this really bad guy. So they go by and they find Darkstalker trying to turn Fierce Teeth into a carbon copy of Clearsight, but he just can't quite get it right. And so yeah, Moon kind of confronts him about this, and eventually he's like, well, that's enough, it's going to be war. So the Ice Wings and the Night Wings, they kind of go at it in a war-like way. I think they draw first blood by killing Narwhal. I think it is. Narwhal is one of the first casualties of between the Night Wings and the Ice Wings. Anyways, let me think. So, um, the Animus dragons, Anemone and Turtle. Well, Anemone now because Turtle lost his powers. Um, they try to find a way to stop the conflict, and Quibbly has an idea. Quibbly and the others flew to Jade Mountain Academy because they knew there'd be kind of a conflict there. Eventually, the conflict ends for now, anyways, when Quibbly comes up with the idea of basically having the dragons read each other's thoughts. Basically, to show that they're dragons and they're just basically fighting for their own survival, and teleporting them back to their basically home areas, which was kind of smart. Well, Darkstalker doesn't take too kindly to that and grabs Quibbly and then basically shows Quibbly where he was like in prison for 2,000 years. And it's while he's there that he offers Quibbly the opportunity to become an Animus dragon. Quibbly thinks about it and turns him down and is like, well, no, I don't really want to be an Animus dragon, even though it is really what he wants more than anything. But he knows that, Darkstalker would probably throw some kind of special enchantment into it or something. So, basically, Moon is there too, and Kinkajou and all the others, listening. And so they convince Darkstalker to come back with them, and they go back to Jade Mountain Academy, and Foe Slayer is there, aka Darkstalker's mom. So, anyways, it turns out that Moonwatcher had a vision, one that didn't quite fit any other vision that she had previously had. And it involved a dragonette who loved strawberries, who loved singing, and basically it was an opportunity for Darkstalker to start all over without his powers. And of course, he's against it, 100%. And so Kinkajou had written using Darkstalker's scroll that they had taken. I forgot that part. Basically, when they were at the old Nightwing place, where all the Nightwings were, they met a Chameleon again, and they knew it was Chameleon, and it was the dragon that had hurt Kinkajou, and they had managed to grab Chameleon's earring that had all his little pieces of scroll in it, and so on one of those, Kinkajou had written an enchantment, one that had been carefully planned and figured out. So, anyways, Darkstalker's like, well, no, I don't want that at all. I want to keep my power. I want to control the whole continent. And he does have the power to do that. But basically, they tricked him. So they fed him a strawberry. But inside the strawberry was a piece of scroll that would cause Darkstalker to turn into a dragonette without any knowledge of who he previously was. And his name would be Peacekeeper, I think, or Peacemaker. And and also Foe Slayer would change her name to Hope. So yeah. Darkstalker became a dragonette, and only a very few dragons knew what happened to him. But he started life again, and him and Foe Slayer just started a new life. And it's been noted on the wiki that if someone were to put one of Quibbly's, earrings on Peacemaker or Peacekeeper, if they would put, one of those earrings on him, then he would turn to dust because he just would. He'd turn to dust. And he wouldn't exist anymore. but nobody wants that because that would be kind of sad. Anyways, Winter was well, you know, during the fight, Winter was teleported back to the Ice Kingdom and then basically promptly, you know, evicted again. And he was helping the Talons of Peace build a sanctuary called Sanctuary, or, you know, it's a place called Sanctuary where dragons of all types, all different, you know, all different races of dragons could live together. So yeah, and he wanted to study, you know, scavengers. And so yeah, now with Darkstalker gone, being reborn as Peacekeeper, the in the book kind of goes into what's happening in everybody's lives. Quibbly is helping, you know, undo the damage of that he caused with the bracelets. And he's convinced by Moonwatcher to go with her. So yeah, Winter is basically yeah, you know, helping with Sanctuary, build a city there, so we can study scavengers better. Kinkajou is there with Turtle. Everyone is basically pretty happy. It was a good ending to the story. Now, Moonwatcher has another vision, though, of a dragon that she hasn't seen before. A dragon with 4 wings. And it's kind of strange. But when Turtle and Anemone described this other dragon, that animus dragon they saw, Jerboa, then she basically knew exactly where to go. And so Quibbly and Moon, they go to see Jerboa, and there is a dragon there that they don't recognize. Turns out to be Luna, but yeah, it turns out that there is an entirely other continent, you know, across the sea. And Clearsight had found this continent, you know, ages ago. You know, right after about 2,000 years ago, Clearsight had found this continent as well using her psychic powers. But yeah, and this sets up the next arc. But yeah, that's all the main points, anyways, from that arc. I guess in the next book we will go. I mean, in the next video we'll go over book 11. Yeah, book 11. And we'll find out about a completely different species of dragon, which is kind of neat. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. If you like this content, make sure you like and subscribe, ring the bell so you don't upload. Also, if you want to support me in any way, or if you want to join the Discord server, all the information will be in the description below. And as always, thanks for watching, everyone. You are loved, and have a great day.